My name is Marina Carillo. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I am 37 years old. Three kids, a boy 14 and two daughters, 13 and 8. I came to the United States about 13 years ago, and I came here to visit, and I ended up staying here. I didn't speak any English back then, but it's been taking me a lot of long hours and a lot of journey, and thank you, Professor Ross, now that you're here. I'll take the time to appreciate it. The time that he put into my education and everything else, and Annette and the ladies over here, yes. And the Native American Culture Center is being very welcoming for me, my friends, and our culture as well. So, what are we here? I don't know if you guys need some points for your class or not, but we are very happy to be here and talk about our culture. There are a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of things going on, especially now with the politicians having this topic of migration, and you guys know. We are trying to put everything short as possible, but at the end we will have time for some questions. And if you guys need to go to class, as you say, go ahead and do it. And maybe later on you let us know, and we'll get in touch with you guys. Main thing, whenever we do a presentation in Mexico, our culture shows as well, even in the business world, or a school, or whenever we gathering together, everybody else. We are not as formal as could be the American culture or any other cultures. We don't really take turns, and that doesn't mean that we try to be rude. It's just how we are. Like for example, we can be in this room sitting just like this, and we can easily find out what everybody else is talking at the same time, and we all knew what the conversation are about, and then we all can interact as well. So whenever you are in the business world, the speaker would actually told you, like here, do it at the end or not, depends on how they do it. But if somebody raise their hands or whatever, it is okay. So if you feel like doing that, go ahead and do that, because we will not get offended. Let's get this started. So, how is America divided? I actually read in a book that North America was only Canada and United States. I was like, did they change it and I didn't know about it? I was kind of surprised about that one. So yeah, we have here the map, and we're like, yeah, we're familiar with it. Yeah, we can just keep it or whatever. And we're Americans. We're good. America is the whole continent. So whenever you go to Mexico, Central America, Colombia, whatever, you need to understand as well, have the knowledge that we are American as well. We consider ourselves as American. So whenever, like, we went to the trip, remember that we went to Mexico, we have the opportunity to go with the group. And that was one of the specifications that was very clear, to not consider yourself as American. You are, but you need to spend that concept of being an American. So yeah, we have North America, Canada, United States of America, and the legal name from Mexico is Estados Unidos Mexicanos. So that's the name. And then we just show it up to Mexico, but even a lot of people from Mexico don't even know the legal name, the real name of their country. So yeah. So Central America, Belice, Costa Rica, Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama. Um, let's go to now South America, Argentina. Oh, tango, love tango. Bolivia, Brazil. Is that going to be the next Olympics? Brazil? Chile, Colombia. Oh, yeah, it's going to be so fun. Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Peru, Uruguay, y Venezuela. Well, I guess we all know about Venezuela now with all what's going on with the Miss Universe and whatnot. So now we jump to Mexico, so which is where we're here from. One of the stories that I wanted to tell, and I was anxious to say this, whenever I first came here, there were a lot of people that didn't know that Mexico was divided by states. They thought that we all come from one big chunk of land, you know. And no, we are divided by states. There's 31 states in Mexico City, which is that like equals ay Dios. Yeah. Okay. Like oh yeah, now we went back. There we go. Like equals here to the DF. New technology, yeah, I'm not too familiar with it, you know, old style. We'll go there too. We'll take you there. I am gonna just give you a little bit of hints up about the differences between the actually country. People from north, we are called norteños. I'm norteña, or northerns. And then central, and then south. I don't know really how they're called, but I'm norteña. And we are still having differences. And we can recognize each other by our accent, by the way we actually walk sometimes. And like in North, for example, is divided as well as how the female and the male present themselves. Meaning, if you have another couple from north or south, you're going to notice the difference. And why? Because in north, we tend to be more straightforward, and the female has a little bit more power, if you can tell. More leadership to people from south or north. Of course, it comes to difference of personality and everything else and blah, blah, blah. But usually that's how it is. And then the reason is because history. It all comes together. It all goes back to where we come from. So whenever you're talking about the revolution and independence and whatnot, the females from north were actually active in the war. They're called Adelitas. They only didn't help with cooking and be there for the men or whatever, but actually they bear arms. They were there in the front line. So it all comes to all that. Of course, I mean, there's going to be all kind of people everywhere, like anywhere else, you know. But another thing now, in the business world, whenever you interact with a male or female, it's very important that you understand a female usually is not going to have eye contact with you. Unless she's la jefa, the boss. You know, so you better make sure that she's the boss or no, yeah, the boss over there. But otherwise, she more likely is not going to make eye contact with you. She's not trying to be rude or anything. And females, be aware, the males are very flirty. They're very flirty. They like to flirt a lot. Yeah, flirt. My accent, I know. They like to flirt a lot. So don't take it offended. They just how they are. But if you feel uncomfortable, it's okay to say something, and they will never bother you back. They promise you that. Handshake is very important, introduction as well, but we go to that a little bit more in other slides. Any questions from here? All right. It's all yours now.
All right. For a few minutes. Then you can have it back. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Elisa Rodriguez Mejia. I am an MSU student, as you all know. I am pursuing a social work career, and I'm having a blast being here and being in the classroom with young students, and it's just a blast. Cannot ask for anything better. I thank you all for being here today. I will be talking a little bit about myself, my family, our culture, a little bit about how we get tagged, labeled. For whatever reason, all races get labeled, and for whatever reason, we tend to go with that label. So oftentimes, we can call ourselves lack of interest in finding out what the truth is, or lack of whatever. Oftentimes, we get labeled, and we stay labeled until we're willing to dig more into what that really is, if it's true or not. And oftentimes, people with power will speak very loudly about something that is not true, and it impacts the entire nation. These words are powerful, and if they're coming from a person of power, they just overshadow everyone that is under those words. And as you already know, are probably thinking about what I'm trying to say here, there's a person that is in the power and that is trying or has applied to become our next president. But I just have to say that people that does not respect or doesn't educate themselves enough about what they're gonna say, and they're just blur out what they think is right at the moment. I think we're playing with dangerous here. Dangerous. But it's just one of the things that I wanted to mention, because it has gone globally, and it has affected millions of families. And there's another label that has been put on into our population, into our people. Now they're rapists, they're killers. We assume there's a few that aren't, but the large majority are. But I am here to tell you that that is not true. I've done a little bit of research. I've written a few papers about the undocumented families here, the immigrants, and a lot of the research that I find says the opposite. And if you have anything that you're willing to share with me, with us, anything and everything is welcome here. We do have our own opinion, and we're entitled to it. It doesn't mean that it's correct. And I'm sure you'll understand. Most of us are students, some of you are teachers, so I would want to guess that we're on the same page. If not, see me afterwards. Anyways, I was born and raised in Mexico. Moved here when I was 20 years old. Like Marina said, it's been a journey to learn English but it's been a lovely journey. There has been a lot of valleys and hills, but that's the beauty of it. My family and I, meaning my mother, sisters, and brothers, moved here to reunite with my father. My father was here, lived here most of my childhood. Hardly got to see him because he was here trying to provide for us. And one day we just decided it was time for us to be together as a family, and that's how we ended up here, my family and I. It was quite a journey, but we'll probably leave that for a different day. I will jump right into the stereotypes. There is several stereotypes, and the reason being, I think, is just because we don't say anything. And the best thing for us to do is, if we feel that we don't own that label, we should say something about it, but we haven't gotten there. One of the labels that we see a lot, and it impacts everyone, is movies, actors. Whenever they select their actors, if they want a gangster in the movie, they're gonna elect either a Hispanic, Mexican, and it's gonna fit that profile, and that's a stereotype. Not just because that individual in that movie, in that commercial, is the gangster. It doesn't mean that everyone is a gangster. But we have been labeled. And the sad part is that they continue to give those labels to our people. Instead of changing them around, they just keep giving those labels. Same thing for drug dealers. Oftentimes they use Colombian people, since it's well known that they move quite a bit of that stuff. They use a Colombian person, and there again, it doesn't mean that everyone does what a few are doing. So they get labeled again. After 9/11, anytime they're using someone that is gonna detonate a bomb, they will use either a Russian person or someone that looks Muslim. So there again, we are stereotyping. Yes, we could use anyone, but we choose not to. And those are things that we don't really think about. We just sit down and watch the movie and let it play and let it roll, and we just move on. But that's how it's happening. It's been happening for many, many years, and we allow it because we purchased the movie, the whatever. So it's just part of that is my opinion. If you guys disagree, it's okay. Just if you have any questions, ask, and I'll do my best to answer. I'm sure we all know about this one. Anytime obviously, we're gonna have the accent. It's not going away, and it's gonna be there to stay. But unfortunately, anytime we either apply for a job, whatever it might be, the minute the accent is heard, we get labeled again. A lot of the labeling is we are incompetent, less intelligent. There's just automatically. I don't know if it's related to institutional racism. I just don't know. But those are labels that happen every day, anywhere. Skin color, isn't that beautiful? We're all from different shades and colors, and I personally love it. But oftentimes, the skin color has a lot to do with where we get in life and how we get there. Because if we're too dark, we get labeled. We're too brown. I'm not sure that you get labeled if you're too light. I've never heard that one yet. But let me know if you guys have, because I haven't. But it's another one. In color, it just happens. Whatever it has been given to us, we're just going with it. And at some time as adults, I think we need to stop and say, okay, I'm an individual, I can make changes or choices. Otherwise, we just keep going with whatever's taking place. That's where I'm at. Now we move to another lovely subject. Myths and the facts. There's quite a few of them. I'm just going to touch up on a few of them. If we have time, I guess we can go into more of them. But some of the myths and facts. I'm sure most of you have heard this one. Do you guys think that undocumented immigrants pay taxes or not?
I think they do pay. At least sales tax. I mean, they still buy things.
Yeah, otherwise they would be dead.
Yeah.
They wouldn't eat or. Yeah. Okay. We're on the right direction. Of course they pay taxes. It's not like we could be labeled. They could be labeled here and say, "Hey, you're undocumented. Don't pay taxes." But it doesn't happen that way. They do have to pay taxes as everyone else does. For instance, they pay state taxes. They pay city taxes, they pay local taxes, any type of taxes they pay. I don't know where we get this from, but it's not a fact. That's the myth. Yes.
Let me just add something to it. Even if a person doesn't have a Social Security number, they still have to pay to the IRS. There is a process that they gotta fill out, and they send them a specific number. So yeah, that's how we still have to pay taxes. So
yeah, the IRS decided they wanted to process some of those cases. So what, 10 years ago, maybe? Close to 10, 12 years ago, they came up with a new idea of how to give an TIN number, I think it's called, for some of the people to claim. The IRS wanted their taxes, so they find a way. But the other thing that I was going to say is that undocumented immigrants do pay taxes. I don't know if you're aware or not of this, but anytime anyone applies for a job, anytime you're through payroll, you have to pay taxes to the state, you have to pay taxes to Social Security, you have to pay taxes to Medicare, because once we retire, we're going to get those taxes back. So they pay into the big pot, regardless. The only problem is that, and I personally know people that have been working with employers for 15, 20, 30 years, undocumented. one day they run out of a job, they won't be able to collect any unemployment. Their chances are 0. So even if they contributed 30 years into the Social Security fund, it doesn't mean that they're able to collect Social Security once they're 60 or 70 or 80. It's just not an avenue for them. So it doesn't mean that they haven't contributed. In fact, does anyone here knows about the suspense file? The suspense file is a file that was created by the Social Security Administration. It's a file that has been collecting taxes from all of those Social Security numbers that are not Social Security numbers in the system. In other words, made up Social Security numbers. So they decided that all of those funds were going to go into that file. They have collected a large amount of money as of 2005. The administrator of the Social Security Administration, his name is Stephen Goss. He publicly spoke to the New York Times and told the world that the file had over $200 billion. So those $200 billion funds are waiting to be distributed to the right Social Security owners. Will it ever happen? Who knows? Probably not. But and all the dividends, interest that is earned from those $200 billion, right now it's more than 200 billion. I'm sorry, it's billion. A lot of the Social Security funds payers are some of those funds are going to pay Social Security people that are being paid today, Social Security. So that's how they contribute to our tax pot. Isn't that lovely? Any questions? Have any of you heard this one? I think we all have, most of us. A large majority. Would you agree? And wouldn't that be a sweet dream? I think it would be. But unfortunately, you have to have the proper documentation to show up at the social services, public services, whatever you want to call it, to try to collect food stamps or whatever the benefits are available to people. There's now one public service that they can get for free. They're able to go into the emergency room just for an emergency. But other than that, am I forgetting anything? Any other? That is one thing.
But it's been actually changed by state a lot. I remember when I used to live in Kansas City, you will be able to go to the doctor because they can deny you, but with everything that's been going on, a lot of hospitals and a lot of clinics are being reserved the right to who they're going to see.
About education.
Education is one of K through 12. That's one of, yes. Thank you for mentioning that. And you're forgetting something. So we hear that undocumented immigrants come here to the U.S. to take advantage of the system. They come here to basically better their lives, to reunite with family like I did. My father was already here. He had been here for many years. my family started coming here since the Bracero program. That's how we learn about the U.S. So most of our families come here to better their situation and to reunite with families. That's the main things that's what we
I came here to visit
do. Yeah. And you're not the only one. There's a lot of other visitors. I hope I'm not boring you with this. If I am, let me know. We'll try to dance here or do something different.
Amen.
Just a really quick, this is for you guys, so if you guys can pass it around. It's just Mexican candy.
Yeah, we like to
Help
eat
yourself.
all the time. We eat and drink all the time.
Yeah. Help yourself, just pass it around. Do undocumented immigrants take jobs away from U.S. citizens? That's a new one, isn't it? Unfortunately not. But research says that they create jobs, not only for the foreign-born, but also for U.S. citizens. They also fill out positions that no one else is able to fill or want to. There has been a lot of research where employers have announced it on the newspapers, have done whatever to see if they could get Americans to do the job, and they have failed. They just cannot find the workers to, like back in California, about 90% of the orchard fields, and it's filled by immigrants. So we have heard that oftentimes we don't want to learn English or become U.S. citizens. Who wouldn't want to become a U.S. citizen? I know that learning English is hard and it takes a while, but even though research says that about 75% of immigrants, after being here 10 years of arrival, most of them speak decent English. So research says that is the contrary of what we're hearing. In some big cities, there's a lot of need for ESL classes. The demand is pretty high, so it's proving the contrary of what we're hearing. And about becoming a U.S. citizen, some people, they just don't. After 9/11, it changed because people were attacked a lot harder, and from there on, people have just decided to become U.S. citizens, so the rates have gone up due to that, really.
Let me add something a little bit.
Sure.
I just became citizen not too long ago, and it was a lifetime experience for me. It changed everything. I never even in my wild thoughts that I was gonna come here to the United States and live here. My family was well established in Mexico. They used to own a jewelry business. I went to college over there. I never really thought about coming here. And whenever a lot of people talk about U.S. citizens, they forget about the status of the permanent residentship. You don't have to become a citizen. It is a choice. it comes from in your heart, your mind, or however you wanna name it. Some people they just okay with being permanent residents, and it comes again with the stereotype and the misunderstanding that being a permanent resident is just anybody. No, you go through the long process, and it's not a choice to become a permanent resident, but it is to be a citizen. See, immigration laws is another word. It's just really complicated, and I think it's gonna get even worse. It's just that as long as you guys keep in mind, there is no or choice to become a permanent resident or to be here legal, because according to the immigrants are either legal or illegal, and are all those that were born in another country. So let's keep that in mind.
Thank you. This is another one that is heard quite a bit. This is one of the ones we hear. It is documented that most immigrants, about 75% of today immigrants, cross with a visa.
Mm-hmm.
And about 40% are overstayed visas, and about 25% of those obviously are undocumented. But the large majority do come in here legally. And another thing that came to mind when you mentioned the process is like another entire class, but the process of becoming a resident, and it's lengthy, costly too, but becoming a U.S. citizen, they go through all of your history records from birth to today. Your records go through the FBI, so you get checked. And anyone that has gone through those processes, I would say they're pretty safe to be around, because you have to go through a lengthy checks of everything and anything. You have to be healthy. So you go through they go through a medical exam. So you have to be healthy. If you're not, you're just not given the permission to be here. So there's a lot that goes on. Even though some people tend to think that it's easy, it's not.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In regards to that, getting into the country, because at one time they didn't want anybody that had mental illness and also disabilities, some of those kinds of things when they first started the immigration process. So how does that affect this area as well?
I haven't heard that one before. I probably have to do a
They're more
bit
historical.
more research on it. But I will get back to you once I find out exactly.
I was just going to make note to the people in the room that when you're working with clients or you're working with people in the fields, look at your local areas, because in Minot, there is the Adult Learning Center has English language learner classes, and they have citizenship classes as well. So when you're working with clients that want to follow that path, there is resources for them in the communities, or our community anyway.
Yeah,
I guess my other
good point.
comment to that too would be if the person had some disability that I was mentioning before, if they were talking about the use of the different systems here, they probably wouldn't be qualified for disability services and some of those other kinds of things that would be provided to other citizens.
Yeah. No, they won't be able to qualify for anything. Some states are stricter than others. There's a few that have a little bit of leeway for a few little things, but yeah, not much.
So how are these things handled within the family structure or the context of the family?
Yeah.
You want to touch up on that?
Yeah. Usually, I'm gonna I want to tell you a story that happened just this week with this program, with this presentation. I just now realized how many people that is handicapped with disabilities are in my family and are around me. That tells you that in our minds, in our family, in our society, we don't see them different.
So your culture, you don't see them different?
No, we don't. I mean, we can tell.
Yeah.
You know, but we don't see them different. And just talking to her this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize, you know, that it wasn't good because of this, because I'm digging into it, because in our minds, since they were little, we're raised the same way. We don't have any privilege, we don't have any differences or any support, either the government or anything. It's all within the family. So whenever we come here and then we try to go through all the process, we're like, what? It is like another word. It's a culture shock. Mm-hmm.
Sure is. Just to finish with this. That's another one that was brought up after the 9/11. Research says that what I need to tell you here is that when you don't have documents to be here, you're going to be more careful about what you're going to do, because you don't want to end up in jail and go through the process of all the headaches and hardship.
Deportation.
The other thing that takes place is that families, sometimes there's domestic violence, there is things that are happening, they don't report it to the police due to being afraid of
Being deported?
Yep. And it's probably, we're gonna leave it at that, running out of time.
Well, I gotta just.
Oh my God.
This is, yeah, I have to put it in there. I have to put it. How do you know when a Mexican is in the house? Don't say it. Don't say it. How do you know?
Yeah, Ned knows.
We're loud. We're really loud. We really are. But it's just part of our culture. We like to have fun. We like to interact with everybody else, and just leave it at that, okay? We always have people. We always invite people. Whenever you invite somebody to a birthday party, even if you have only 1, 2, 3 kids, whatever, you get one invitation, and I'll go to them and you inviting everybody. And you can have 2 or 3 other people coming over anyway, so there you go. So one fun story, when my kids from school come with an invitation, and then my daughter came in, hi, I got invited to a birthday party, and then I have to say it because I do parenting my kids in a different way. We don't get offended that easily, but anyway, he's like, are they white or Mexicans? And I'm like, and then she's like, what? I was like, oh, just stop it. Let me see. Okay, so I, talk to the mom or whatever, and they're like, only she's going, okay. I gotta like that, but oh my goodness, yeah, I had to say it. We are very family orientated. My son the other day got my phone, got a snapshot, and then he's like, Mom, I'm moving out as soon as I turn 18. And I say, no, you're not. And then he's like, oh, yes, I am. The same day, I'm moving out. I say, no, you're not. Yes, I am. Say, no, you are not. No, in our culture, we don't just, we're 18, we're out of work. No. You are not required. You don't talk about it. You just stay home until you actually get married. When you get divorced, you can go back. Friendship for life. This is a very touchy topic that I do like to talk about. Even whenever I met new people, I'm always the same way with everybody and whatnot. And I have really good friendships that I met in the supermarket. With Sarah, for example, she wanted to be here, but she couldn't be here. And I was just buying groceries, and I have my kids just right behind me, you know. And I see her picking up some jalapenos. I was like, "Are you Mexican?" And then she's like, "Yes, I am. Where are you from?" And ooh, my kids are like, "Why do you do that? Why do you do that?" Like, everybody that speaks Spanish, they're just friends, and like you just like nothing. And then we're still in contact. What, 7 years now? And then I just numerous times that happened, and in the business world as well. You're not gonna be just going straight to business. Let's get this done, make the deal. How much you gonna pay for the? They might not say, you know what, no, I'm not gonna do it, but you're more likely not gonna hear from them again. They need to build a relationship with you first before they get into business with you. Now, cultural awareness. I danced Mexican folklore since I was 6 years old. For us, be a dance student is a really high level. We are seeing like another size of t-shirt, but more like culture and everything else. I went to one of the, I can consider the best students in Chihuahua. There's a lot of scholarships for students, their dance. I was lucky enough that they got their scholarships and whatnot. I got a story about a dance group. They went to Ecuador, and for some reason I ended up not going to there and whatnot, and they all died in the car accident. So it just stayed with me, you know. I have some pictures that I'll pass around later on. I went to La Habana, Cuba, representing Mexico for an international culture exchange. We didn't get the opportunity to take a lot of pictures because socialists, you know, and all that, why not? I was 15, 16 years old, something like that. So I love my culture. I definitely would like to expand that to my kids and all generations. However, I choose to be here. I am American, and this is my culture as well. So it's kind of like a blended process, you know. You can, you know, adapt it and whatnot, and they all come together. It forms your personality and shapes everything around you, and how you do things and how you teach your kids and other generations. I'm sure probably my grandkids won't even know who it was, but whatever, you know. That was.
We hate to interrupt, but I know some of the students have a class that they have to walk.
Yeah, that's fine. So with that, I just give a little bit of the folklore, and going back to the map of Mexico, each state, it has their own culture itself. It has their own characteristics with the female and the male, how they dance, how they present things, and how they play instruments and everything else. We can see the difference with each state according to those characteristics.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
We're almost done anyway. I was gonna show you a video, but time is kind of short. But that they're my friends dancing in the school, in fact, one of the theaters and whatnot. But yeah, I have the picture of me dancing here at the museum, the Aztec dance. We use a lot of storytelling. I remember growing up, you know, when we all got together and then we talked stories and it just we just mingle with each other and just have to spend hours and hours. And each state has their own way to tell stories and their own stories as well. Manners are great. Oh, wait, oh my goodness. See, it's even hard to talk about it because if my grandma was here, you know, she just passed away not too long ago. And whenever the father figure, the male, you know, came into the house, they will not hug you. They will not show too much affection. Don't do this. You have to kiss their hand. No, that's how we do it. And you just do it, you know. And I don't know why or how, but we don't really talk about it. We just do it. It's like, I know I had to tell my kids like 20,000 times how to do something, and I'm like, I don't remember anybody told me how to do things. We just automatically do it. I don't know how or what happened in the process, how we lost that even back in Mexico. But I see the difference whenever my kids go and visit there. They fit in because their personalities are kind of like mine, but they find their ways. But I can see how the other kids are a little more, you know, back into the adult comes, grandparents come on, and they all shake hands. Even the little ones. Somebody comes into the room, they all shake hands. And even in the back, hey, such and so, come here, blah, blah, blah. They come here and you don't have to say hi. No, just, you know. Oh my goodness. Some things that we should preserve. And the business words, you need to follow the protocol. What protocol? I mean, we don't really have one. We don't really have one. As long as you're friendly, and if you have instructions for the institute, we all have to do it, you know. But don't feel so tied up into, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? But just relax, be yourself, and enjoy yourself. We always offer a food or something to eat or whatever, and especially if the grandma or the mom offers you the food, just eat it. Just eat it. Especially for the business. Don't eat.
Go with it.
Don't eat before you go to Mexico.
No, never.
Build relationships. One particular topic that we talk about in class is like over the phone, you know, whenever you call somebody or telemarketing or whatever. There is no customer service in Mexico. That doesn't exist. It doesn't. Okay, you got good service, you got bad service. Good. Next. And you're lucky to even be the next person in life. So don't expect that treatment. Medium wear, this is blah, 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 but no. And it's not because they're trying to be rude or they're not trying to take your money or whatever. That's just how it is. It's just part of the culture. So whenever, like for example, I like my steak well done, like almost burnt, you know, and they're like, ew, what? But that's just how we eat. It's just how it is, and I will not take it back, more likely, unless, for example, we have a scenario. Whenever you go to a business etiquette lunch or whatever, and then that person is a male, they have to order for you. As a female, not because you're a female you're not going to talk, it's not that, but it is the male responsibility to impress the female without having to do anything else. Just the fact of being a male is their role to say, you know, what would you like, and then they will order for you. Likely. I'm teaching my boyfriend because no. They need to know. So our customs, really big about customs. I'm just gonna go quick. Ask for a blessing whenever we leave in. We ask whoever is the elder, bless me. Dame la bendición, and then you get blessed, and then you can go. Then you can go. Meaning, you stay there until they bless you. If no, there goes the chocolate. No. Getting people, even when you don't know them, asking kids the same, like you just, we kind of went to that for a little bit. Proper introduction, we're really big about that, and oh man, I'm so bad about it. I always forget it, and I'm like, oh. But yeah, we're really big about introduction. Opening the car door for the female passenger is, I mean, we do this a lot here, right? I always like, oh, I guess I get in, you know, but yeah, it takes time. It takes time. Just jump in. Get in when answer the phone calls, even whenever you're at the house. You have to be, it's like the whole protocol. It's like, ooh, and then who would you like to talk to? And you're like, oh, she's for like 5 minutes and this, you know. My friends know me, they're like, Marina, just send him a text because she's just not gonna answer.
Your texts are the same way too.
Yeah. It's like, okay, adios. Yeah, I know. Offer something to drink or eat when you have visitors. We always have leftovers. Well, at least we try one out, but
Most of ours.
well, yeah, my kids don't like leftovers. No. Asking for hand on marriage to the parents before you make a decision. You can talk to your significant others about getting married or not, and she's gonna say, "You gotta talk to my parents." And if they say no, we gotta figure something out. That's just what it is. That's what I did too. My boyfriend just asked my grandma. And my parents and my sister was here and everybody was here. I'm like, well, depends what they said. Because my grandma said, no, don't get married again. Don't get married again. I was like, we have a problem. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And he did well. I had to translate everything whenever we have the very language. Just like, I have the responsibility that even if they talk bad about me, because they will.
Yeah.
Like, in cause they do not. They just say, yes, it is. And you have to translate even the bad stuff. So. We have two ways to say you, which is the proper way and the normal way. But the congregation on the verbs and everything else change whenever we talk in the proper word, which is usted or señor. So if you're interested in learning Spanish, I recommend you to learn how to use the proper Spanish as well if you go into the business course too. And as I said, it's okay. You call me whatever, then you switch the whole congregation of the verbs. Oh yeah, everybody knows. She was like, what do you mean? How's that? I'm like, most people don't have a cell phone over there. We write notes, we write letters, we use the post office. My dad is retired from the post office. I grew up in the post office. It was fun because we used to get in the baskets and everything, and yeah, it was fun. Oh, talking about that, I was telling her the story that I used to know somebody that communicate with pigeons, and I told my kids this story, and they're like, "Are you that old?" And I'm like, "No, you need to understand. In Mexico, we're that behind." You know, and it's amazing how they do all that with the pigeons and everything. And they do come back, and then you gotta go like this, and then so because people do use handwriting notes. Thank you, and please. The same. Piropos is a respectful way for a male to refer to a female, because I don't know why, but the male guys in our culture, they're just always talking about females. They just always, and they're called piropos. We do a lot of serenatas, serenatas. So especially for Mother's Day, like we all get together, all the friends and people from school, whatever. We go together, and then at night we go to the whoever is there in other houses or their girlfriends or whatever, and then we play and sing, and then if they turn the line, that means they liked it. If they didn't turn the line, they just move on. But yeah,
Nice.
so yeah, it's pretty neat. I think you will like that. So you like music, yeah. Peregrinaciones, since we're most of us, well, no, but raised Catholic. I was raised Catholic, but I have a lot of questions, so I never got the answers of the story. Anyways, for Christmas, since we do peregrinaciones, which we go through the whole neighborhood. We all got together, and we represent when Jesus was born. There's one side of the group inside the house and another group outside the house, and they sing songs back and forth, that they're asking for permission to be there through the night, and they say no, and then yes, and they come in, and then the party was like 2 days ago anyways, and you just keep partying, because you love to party. Las quinceañeras, we celebrated on the 15th. Here equals a sweet 16. My daughter's gonna be next year. Oh boy, come on. Reyes Magos, Wise Men celebration as well. I think we're just looking for ways to just keep having parties. Refranes, yeah, we use those a lot in during everyday conversation. What it is a wise way to say something in a meaningful way without saying exactly or going straight to the point. Spanish is a romantic language. We don't really go straight to the point. So we use a lot of refranes, and you have to have a cognitive mind to actually understand and apply to what we're talking about. So, yeah, mine got to be sharp. I'm just gonna go really quick because I have a little bit of what she was saying. We're not even in the first 5. India, China, República Dominicana, sí, administration. Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Guatemala, and then Cuba. Oh, it's beautiful, Cuba. Honduras, Iraq. Now, gender differences. Talk a little bit of female and males. Do you guys know who she is?
Joan of Arc.
It's so funny, Inés de la Cruz. She is monja, a nun. Well, she was a nun. That back then, females were not allowed to go to school. Yeah, were not allowed to go to school. She wrote a lot of poems. She was a writer. She's my favorite writer. I was gonna bring some or whatever, but just for the matter of time and whatnot. She dressed like a man. Yeah, she had to dress like a man so she can go to school and get educated, so she kind of had to live another life so she can write. You guys know who he is? Come on, you guys don't know this one. Pancho Villa. Yeah, Pancho Villa. His real name is Dorotea Arango. I don't know if you guys know the story or not, but no short story. He was a revolutionary, really, really determined man. He actually invaded the United States. He was executed in Parral, which is where I'm from. That's where I was born. So if you guys want to know a little more about this history and whatnot, let me know, because oh my gosh, I love it. I can talk about it like all day long, But yeah, he was a key piece on the Revolutionary War. Independence Day was September 16, 1810, and then the Revolutionary was in 1910. So, and those days are the ones that would actually celebrate No Cinco de Mayo. because Cinco de Mayo, as you might know, it was only a war between friends in Mexico. It happens in one state. And the reason is that I believe that it was actually adopted is because it was convenient for the United States, because there were plans to being attacked from south. So we got it first. Generational differences. Oh my gosh, all style. I am all style, definitely all style. I was actually conceived by the herb medication. My parents were married for a long time, and after over 8 years, my mom went to even in other states trying to conceive and whatnot, and they're like, you need to admit you're never going to be able to have kids. Never, 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 never. So we went to a curandera, and she gave her some herbs, she did some exercise with her on the floor, whatever, and then one day she came in. My dad said he needs to literally pick her up, and then she will be on bed for days after days. And she did the praying and whatever, and then I think this explains a lot.
Good. I'm glad you're finding your answers.
Oh boy. So one day she came back for her routine, whatever, and she's like, I can't touch you, you're pregnant. What? Yeah, you were pregnant. So she went to the doctor. After 4 months, me being there, they're like, oh yeah, you're pregnant. And then Nathan showed you for, because I was so little. I don't know. Anyways. So yeah, we do use that a lot. Of course, a lot of people go through the other side, whatever. That's another story, but as part of our culture. Patriarchal society. Oh yeah. Yeah, the male is the head, but the female is the neck. And I love it. And I absolutely love it. We go a lot to the mom. It's not because, oh no, she's the boss, so she was like, yeah, going to your dad, but at the same time, the mom is the one that stays home and blah, 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 all that. So now, whenever you come here in America, we all have to, at least most of us, I don't know you guys, but I have to have 2 jobs. So it all that changed. And how do I balance that? Because my friends are like, how do you do that? How do you manage all that? You just don't watch TV, don't sit down, and just keep going. As simple as that. This new generation. Oh my gosh. I need to breathe. Seriously. Whatever. Because I have, my kids. Use of technology. I don't have Wi-Fi at home right now, and I don't miss it. I love it. My kids act like they're dying. Yeah. I do. Like, Mom! What? Wi-Fi. Are you going to say you love me? No, Wi-Fi. It just, and I'm like, you know what? No. We're not going to have it. And education, this is something that I wanted to emphasize a lot. The new generation statistically are more educated than the old generation. And why is that? Because we go back to how we were raised. The mom's going to stay at home and, to everybody else, to provide for everybody else, because we have a lot of family, and then the next one and the next one help everybody else, and blah, blah, blah. So you didn't have time to take care of yourself, and an education matter. Now, some misconception about people educated in Mexico. Most of us go to college, and it is not free, really. The process to go to college in Mexico, it is totally different here. Here, we all know we get loans, scholarships, and then go from there. You pick which schools you're gonna go and blah blah blah, blah whatever. I was afraid to come here to college because I was totally ignorant of what was going to be in front of me and whatnot. But in Mexico, okay, you want to go to be an engineer or whatever. So you apply for that school. Then that school is the one that is going to accept you or not. So how do you do that? You have to compete. You have to compete for that spot. Let's say the institute or whatever is accepted 500 new students. So you go to a huge place to have a test, everybody at the same time, and then the highest scores are the ones that get that spot. Unless you know somebody that is gonna, pay there and under the table and whatnot, but it's another story. It has happened, but usually that's how the system and the school works in Mexico. You have to compete for any college or university you want to apply. Unless you wanna go pay a lot of money for a private school, they'll take you. But you need to compete. And the way that we do our classes and the way the students go to their class and everything, and it's a completely different story. If you're not ready by the time the teacher is saying something whatever before class, oh my gosh, good luck catching up. It's really hard. Whenever I went to Cuba, their level of education amazed me. It put Mexico to shame. They really are. But my generation, I'm glad that they are taking the time to look into that. Oh yes, I like this one. How do we cope with disabilities? Like I was saying, we don't really see the difference. We don't have any help. We really don't. Now it started to raise an awareness a little bit and whatnot, and blah, blah, blah. But the whole family gets together and manage the support and everything else for whatever is a disability. The school or the work or anywhere else, they're not really strict about the law that have some, handicap signs or ramps or anything else. No, not at all. I used to volunteer in Mexico because they have a race. So I remember because you run, but you push somebody in the wheelchair, and then you go run, and it's a blast. It's a blast, and it's super fun too. They do modify the cars. I saw that, and I have, like I said, a lot of relatives. Like I have a half sister with Down syndrome, and a cousin Down syndrome, and I don't even know. See, because we don't really see the difference. I don't know. I mean, we see it, but like I said, we don't.
What if somebody in the school was concerned that maybe, your son or daughter has a learning disability? Would that be something that you would say, okay, let's look into this more, and we'll work together as a team, within the school, and do some testing? And so you think that most people would be open to that?
Yeah, I actually went to Mexico for school to be a teacher for middle school math, and then things come up or whatever. But I do have a lot of friends that are specialized on that. You have to go through a lot of years and whatnot, and it's not even offered on the state. You have to go somewhere else. But the majority goes to school just like everybody else. I went to school with a lot of my friends with disability, and we all see each other just like, hey, if we run somewhere, you better catch up because we're running. We don't see you any different, so that's just how it was. But yeah, if you have some concern or whatnot, there are people that are qualified to help and whatnot, and they're like now, programs start coming up a little bit more to raise money, and everything else is more likely to done private or institutions than the government. Yeah. I would like to talk about my grandpa from my dad's side. That's him. He got his legs got amputated by the train, He was in his house, and then he ran outside, and there he comes the train. So people picked him up and got the legs, and he got the fake legs, prosthetic legs, and he didn't like them. So what he did, he got some tires, he cut them up, and he used them as a shoe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was his shoe, the tires. And he was the, in Parral, San Francisco del Oro, is mine, it's a mine state, yeah. So he was the bookkeeper for the mines, and I think God we have Excel, right? But back then there was nothing like that. He had to do everything by hand. So he kept everything right there by hand. He was really good with math. Math was his strong. Man, I wish I would have got just a little bit, Grandpa, you know. But yeah, no. And we call it Papa Pato. You know what pato means? Duck. See, he looks like a dog, so we call him a pato. He looks like a dog, so we call him a pato. Yeah. This picture is from the newspaper. They ran an article about him because even in his condition, like nothing. Whenever we moved, well, they moved because I wasn't even born yet. When they moved to the city, he started selling candy in the streets. So he got his car and then he walked wherever he needed to walk. So they read an article about him. Oh yeah, he loved to dance. Yeah, he really loved to dance. That's one of my cousins and then my aunties and uncles. And then, see, I remember where she's still alive, but I'll show a picture where she looks better. I think it's the next one. So now Mama Maria and La Tepo, they're from my dad's side as well. She passed away, but she's still alive. I began a fight with her once. Oh my gosh, she was really strong. She kicked my butt. But anyways, we grew up together. That's how it was. And about hospitals and service and whatever, I don't think she ever went to the doctor unless for, things that she needed to go for, like regular, she was actually sick, but nothing about her condition, which I don't even know what her condition is. I only know that she ages and she acts like a kid. She's still a kid. I don't know exactly what condition is because, like I said, we don't really see much of a difference. Just this morning, I was like, oh, great, La Tepo.
You know what we say, here at NDCPD, the terms that we use are people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So
Okay, thank you.
Oh. An intellectual, well, possibly an intellectual, but for developmental disabilities.
Something that I do like about Alcorta, we don't use the R word at all. It's not even in our vocabulary to be.
It's there, but we don't use it.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
It's just. I do like that. Okay, yes, one of the services offered by the Mexican government. She mentioned something about whenever you're here as an illegal immigrant, because it doesn't mean that you're legal or illegal, but for illegal immigrant, domestic violence arises a lot, and then things that don't get reported because they're scared to be deported, right? So I'm a survivor for 9 years, and I was in that situation for that long. No by choice or anything, and I really tried a lot and whatnot, and that happened here in the United States. To be honest, I never suffered the things that I suffered until I came to the United States. I really didn't. I didn't got any help as I did until I came to North Dakota. Maybe because they're a smaller community, so you're not just part of numbers. And they did everything what they could, and then we got the result, and it was in my favor. But in Mexico, I spoke with my sister, and she's a lawyer, and she was part of the first. It's not how it's called, but domestic violence in Mexico. She was part of that, and they just opened it in 2008. Yeah, yeah, and that is in the capital. So imagine, yeah, imagine everything that is going on in all those areas that they're not being reached. Elisa effort is there, is that they're about to start at the same with other institutions and whatnot. But right now with the war what's going on, it still is, but now people talk about it because it's been now more in the news, and now with the new movie, Sicario, what is it? No, a new movie. It was filmed in Juarez. I think it's Sicario. Yeah, I think that's what they call. So a lot of propaganda about the war and whatnot. Yeah, it did happen. It is not like that anymore. But I lost a lot of friends and relatives in the war. You know, it was a little bit hard for me to watch the movie because it was like impacting and whatnot. But yeah, it is working towards something we just don't know really where it's gonna take us. So resources, any questions, anything else, just feel free.
I have a question. Oh, you go ahead first. Go.
I would like to ask you how about the social mobility in Mexico?
About the
Social mobility.
Social mobility?
Yes.
Like social.
like
For example, in my country, age 14, the junior high school,
Oh.
everybody have to take exam. Then if you cannot go to grade, you cannot go to school. Right? Then like your life is almost done.
Yeah, I can relate to that. In Mexico, that's just what it is. It's kind of the same. They're expecting you have this grade or that grade. So if you have any disability, if you don't have your help within you, they're not responsible to admit you. In fact, I have a friend, his name is Aaron Acosta. He is a lawyer and a motivational speaker. We went together to middle school, and we were dance partners for a while and whatnot. And he got in an accident with electricity, so he didn't have arms and legs. And he went to college like that. He finished college, yeah. He has a beautiful daughter with Down syndrome, and they just managed like that. But the institutions are not responsible for admitting you because of your condition.
Yeah, I was just wondering, so do you know, like what kinds of, I don't know, areas or whatever that people, I mean, Hispanics, Mexicans, that are here in North Dakota, like what kinds of, what areas of North Dakota are they like most in need of services? Any kinds of services? You know, or like do they have support networks? I don't know, I'm just trying to see.
Actually, in fact, a group of friends and I, we've been talking a lot at the moment that we actually present this project to you, Professor Ross, about how can we start something like that. There is really not. There was a lady that contacted me a while back and whatnot, but there is really not, And I know we were actually thinking about kind of getting help from Mexico as well, because my family, my dad kind of like the politics and whatnot, so he'll be able to, bring a little help. But we don't really have anything here yet. Yeah, like I like to teach other students and other kids in the Mexican culture and stuff like that. But I know a lot of friends that if we all come together as a group and we can start something, we're willing to do it.
Like some type of support network, or
Yes,
not only
because
for
there's not
families here in Minot, but maybe all of North Dakota who are
I
needing
was-
some extra support, because a lot of
Yeah.
Hispanic families are living in real rural areas. They're going to places where the jobs are for what is it, like sugar beets, and what else do they have going on? The oil and the what?
Harvest in the valley, they call it the valley,
The valley.
the Red River Valley.
Yeah.
Works there.
Yeah, and
I know some, I know what you're saying, because I have, I've had friends in the past that are from Mexico, and then they moved to the United States, and then that was their way of making a living, is they would follow the harvest from the south to the north, and then they make their way back down. That would be a little difficult, because either you leave your family where they're at, or else your kids travel with you. But then if your kids travel with you, what kind, because we don't have a standardized curriculum in our, you know what I mean? So it's like military, when military travel or stuff.
Right.
So and I know it used to be, I don't know if it's like that now, but the job
It's
services,
changing.
job services used to have outreach for, but that's changing
Yeah, I think
even
it's
today, so.
changing,
the good thing about schools here in the United States, you don't have to be legal as
Yeah,
a kid to
Right.
to join. So at least the little kids will get their education.
I was gonna just make a comment about the language, because, backing up with you guys, but, at this job and then a previous job, my previous job I had, I worked with 16 to 24-year-olds. Inevitably, I would have, I worked in a position where people would come to me, like kind of like a principal, and the issue would come up. Why do the Mexicans talk Mexican? They don't talk Mexican, it's called Spanish. But I also taught a diversity class to second week students when they came into the program. So that would be part of it. But here's what the thing is that, because I am around these ladies quite a bit in work, and it's outside of the university as well. I don't have an issue. As a matter of fact, I use it as a learning experience, because they may not know this, but I probably can't speak to them, but I can kind of pick up what they're saying. I can understand what the conversation they're having. But a lot of times it's not because they want to be rude to me or they want to be secretive. It's they can communicate faster with each other if they just say it in Spanish. If they try to say it in English and it's not, if I'm included in the conversation, however, they'll speak in English because I'm included. But if them two are just speaking, and so I would have students say to me, these were 16-year-olds now, they would say, how do I know they're not talking about me? And I would say, okay, Becky, your name in Spanish will be Becky. So if they're talking about Becky, you're going to hear Becky.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the way I would put it. And you could replace that from Spanish to any other language, right? So.
One of the other reasons too, whenever you translate one language to another, it
Loses.
sometimes it loses the meaning. It really does, and especially whenever you're trying to talk about some topics, we're very passionate about what we do. Right? We're really good at this stuff.
Yeah.
That's
understatement, huh?
Yeah, we just, I don't know why, but it's just how it is. So whenever we talk about in English, we kind of change. Okay, it's a little bit more proper, But even whenever it's not the proper English, but it is one of the things that we enjoy, that speak the language. And my kids, they're bilingual. The little one has a little bit more struggles and whatnot. In the beginning, whenever I moved to Marina from Kansas City, I had a little bit of issues with the schools because my kids were speaking Spanish. Yeah. Now they came along a little bit better, but in the beginning, yeah, I had to go through that.
So what was the issue exactly?
Because sometimes they didn't understand or whatever, and they're like, they were not willing to work with them.
I think
as they were in Kansas City.
Yeah, I think the mentality, mentality is sometimes for educators. Some educators will say, well, if you're going to learn English, you better speak English, or the only way you're going to learn English is to speak it. So I think some educators
have that mentality that, you know what I'm saying, that if you truly want to learn the English, then you shouldn't be speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
But that's coming from somebody that believes in the salad bowl theory, not the melting pot theory. So.
Yeah. See, I think you know what I'm gonna say.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I can defend myself at any time.
and this happened with me as an experience. I learned how to read first, and then listen, and then speak, and then write. And I think that's pretty much where a lot of us stand. So yeah, with the kids, and now they have new programs in school where they can have that extra help, but whenever of course can hear their words.
I think if I was still in the classroom, you know, I would jump right on that. I would be teaching my kids different languages by using, you know, because I think like if your children didn't speak English, for them to learn it is easy. To learn the English is to teach the Spanish. I don't know. I think that, you know what I mean, because you have to know the meaning in English.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
To an English speaker, so.
And I'm strict with my kids. I think I am.
Yeah, you are.
But that's okay. That's okay with me because I have to be mom and dad, you know. So my kids know my standards, and they try their best. They're really good with school and whatnot. Of course, you know, they're teenagers, but yeah, I'm the best.
I'd like to take a few seconds here. I've known you guys now for a few years.
Yeah.
And you started out with me, and I just want you to know how proud I am
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
of both of you and how well you have developed your English skills.
Yes.
Yes, I definitely am. You both are doing so well, and
Thank you.
it's all because of your own hard work.
Thank you.
That's all it is. You both are quite the students,
Thank you.
I will say.
Thank you. Right now, I am the English class with Dr. Sher, and it's a really small class, and I like how she's straightforward. You know, she's put it right there. She's really hard. I heard a lot of students don't really like her. I love her. Yes, get mad at me. Yeah, say something. Yeah. 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 But no, thank you guys for being here. And oh, it was awesome. It was a really good experience to be in here. So
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, where's the party now?